Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes, and I have six big stories for you today. So, the gentleman that you see here is a Russian lieutenant colonel. He's on trial. What for? The fraud. Fraud that everybody knows, that everybody's involved with in the Russian hierarchy in the military, but everybody has looked the other way until recently. And okay, here we are. A Russian lieutenant colonel of the 83rd Airborne Assault Brigade has been detained on charges of fraud. The officer denies guilt, claiming that his arrest is related to the exposure of corruption schemes in the brigade command that he had nothing to do with. The video shows the commander of the sniper group of the 83rd Airborne Assault Brigade. The officer was awarded 5 Orders of Courage, as well as the title Hero of Russia. But they're taking him off the battlefield. Now, he was in the hospital wounded, but they're removing him because it's part of this cleanup effort, but I don't see it as a real cleanup effort so much as going after bigger fish. On September 5, he was detained in the hospital where he was after another injury and taken to Moscow's pretrial detention center, number 4. He's accused of fraud. Charge was that he knew about the brigade commander's illegal actions, but he did not take any measures. Okay, but that's what they do with all of them. They go after them for fraud, and they know that everybody's involved in fraud. And it doesn't look like it's so much cleaning up as going after particular personalities like perhaps Shoigu. We'll see how that all plays out. So big story number 2, Biden administration is doing everything to keep Putin quiet before the election, hoping that Putin will be pacified. Putin will not be pacified. The best thing that Biden could possibly do is give the weapons to Ukraine that the Ukrainians need so that they can secure some kind of victory. I know you're running the risk of potentially upsetting some voters who don't want to see things escalate. But when they see things become more victorious rather than just escalate, but actually start to win, that would be a win for him. But he's not willing to do that. Putin leans into weakness and will now commit the worst atrocities of the war to force public humiliation onto Biden, casting light on his weakness, the exact opposite of what the naive U.S. administration planned. And in a close election, these things matter. Now, this is commentary. This is Jay in Kiev. I'm a Republican, so if I said it, that's one thing, but he's not. And when he's saying it, I would listen to it with a different ear. Okay. Big story number 3. So the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed that during a meeting with U.S. Congress delegation, he discussed certain details of Ukraine's victory plan, the plan to be presented to U.S. President Joe Biden and then either Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, one of them, in the future. He also was talking to Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who called for a renewed effort for peace in Ukraine. Scholz added that he and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky agreed on a need for a new peace conference that would include Russia. Now, there's more to this story than it seems. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is working on a plan for a peaceful settlement between Russia and Ukraine, which is intended to bring Moscow into the negotiating table. We've established that. According to the newspaper, it could involve territorial concessions from Ukraine, and the plan, quote, does not rule out the transfer of some Ukrainian territories to Moscow, unquote. Well, that's absolutely horrible. Scholz wants to go down in history as the Chancellor of Peace, disappointed by the failure of elections in Eastern Germany, hopes to improve his position by, quote, playing the Ukrainian card. So I'm not liking that. That's just bad. Gary Kasparov said the only peace it will be Russia losing and leaving Ukraine. Everything else, summit, ceasefire, etc., is a sham. So Scholz and the rest can pretend to be big peacemakers while Russia says thanks and rearms for its next offensive. Now, if you think about the history of Russia since about 2000, that's pretty much what's happened here. Okay, Scholz ready to get back into earning that sweet, sweet Russian blood money, even if it means Russia will continue blowing up things around Germany, poisoning water supplies at German military bases, and committing acts of sabotage on Germany's public infrastructure. Again, this is commentary rather than news, but he's not far from the truth. I mean, he's onto something here. The Russians keep continuing to show themselves to be bad actors. It's to the point where we're seeing things that we never thought we'd see, like the violation of NATO airspace. And here's Gabriel Landsbergis after yesterday Romania and Latvia's airspace were violated. Incidents unthinkable 3 years ago are now treated as routine. Nothing should be landing on Ukraine or Latvia or anywhere in NATO territory, but this is a new reality our inaction has allowed to emerge. Lithuania will, of course, be supporting a strong allied response. Okay, Lithuania is also preparing plan for mass evacuation in case of war. I'm telling you, the Baltic states, they're aware of this. Lithuania is over here. Here is Lithuania, and Latvia is where the uh, airspace was violated yesterday. Romania is down here. Ukraine's over here. I don't understand why that's going the way it is, but okay. This just about sums up our current pathetic attitude toward deterrence. Instead of signaling resolve, protecting ourselves, Ukraine, and our interests by shooting down these drones, we signal weakness and make ourselves targets for further coercion. Well, what's he talking about here? Okay, well, not only did the Romanian Air Force not shoot down Russian drones in their airspace, they escorted them with F-16s for over 100 kilometers. They escorted these drones so that they could strike targets in Odessa. Like, I mean, really? It's in your airspace. You have every right to shoot it down. It's not causing an international incident. Not doing it is going to cause more of an international incident by generating more and more bad behavior. Ben is right. What we are currently doing is extremely dangerous. If you escort an adversarial strike weapon through your airspace rather than shoot them down, you signal that you have basically given up. So that's where NATO is. Today marks, by the way, I told you that they've been doing this for a long time. Today marks the 25th anniversary of the beginning of Moscow apartment bombings, widely considered to be Putin regime's inaugural voyage into large-scale T. And I'm not going to say the word here just for YouTube censors because sometimes I get demonetized for that kind of thing. Okay, the Russian apartment bombings 25 years on. If you look at this, you see this. After the bombings, the situation dramatically changed. Putin was suddenly on television constantly vowing, quote, to destroy the T in their outhouses, unquote. Russia launched a long-prepared invasion of Chechnya that met with initial success. Putin's popularity soared. In March 2000, he was elected Russia's president. This has been Putin's playbook. It's all been warmongering since he started. Okay, today, North Korea also held a large-scale celebration of its 76th anniversary of the country's formation. Dictators Putin and Lukashenko congratulated Kim Jong-un and the brotherly people of North Korea. This is one of the most repressed places on earth, and they're congratulating them for what exactly? I'm not sure. Okay. On this day in 1939, the USSR sent congratulations to Nazi Germany for their conquest of Warsaw. It was the escalation management of the time that made it possible. Yeah. German ambassador in the Soviet Union to the German Foreign Office, Moscow, September 9th, 1939. I've just received the following telephone message from Molotov. I've received your communication regarding the entry of German troops into Warsaw. Please convey my congratulations and greetings to the German Reich government. Molotov. How about that? Okay, so last little thing here that I want to show you is this. Believe, this is the handle for Olaf Scholz, believe Scholz will be much more generous with Ukraine's land than he would be with Germany's, which is very nice of him. Yeah, so that's where we are today on Monday, September 9th, 2024. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes. Thank you most of all for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.